Live from New York, it's Ask an Engineer.
Hey everybody, I hope you guys enjoyed our awesome live music. We are now guaranteeing live music every Ask an Engineer thanks to DJ Mr. Lady Ada.
Yeah, so just real quick before we start, that was the Little Bits Korg synth that just actually totally comes apart because it's all held together with magnets. So that was live music. We're now the first and only a live electronics show that actually plays live music.
With live modular synth. Anyways, we should do the intro. Welcome to Ask Engineer. This is the last Ask Engineer of the year. So it will be, by definition, the greatest, because it has to be, because it's like the last one of the year. But we'll have more next year, so that's good. I'm Lady Ada. I'm the engineer. With me is Phil, Mr. Lady Ada, who's on camera control and yelling at Google. And we're having we had an awesome show and tell. We have an awesome show.
It was a jam-packed one, yeah.
We had the best discount code of the year, too, which by default makes this the best episode of the year.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell them lots of
Okay, on tonight's show, the code is 13. 13% off everything in stock. That's right, 13% off, because we're celebrating the end of 2013. What a great year it was. So you get 13% off, folks. But it's only until midnight tonight, so get on it.
And not on software.
Yeah. We'll go over the show and tell, all the cool things that people showed and share on the popular show and tell jam-packed night. Packed a Mailbag will stop by. We're going to talk about some things around the web, including a special season's greeting message. Lady Ada got this cool thing. What is this exactly? We'll explain more.
Is it from space?
We'll stop by the Adafruit Learning System. Wearable Wednesday. Look at some costumes and some wearable stuff and more. 3D Thursday. Pi Day. We'll have new products. We'll answer your questions. We'll have a trivia question. We'll even share some top secret stuff. All that and more on Ask an Engineer. It is a jam-packed show. Okay.
Such a show.
Yeah, it's a big show.
Much show.
Yeah.
Very engineer.
Okay.
Very exciting.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on.
Let's start it off.
Yeah, just let's pay some bills. The code is 13. That is 13% off everything in the Adafruit store.
We have restocked many things. We got sold out of almost everything during the very exciting Christmas rush. But luckily, we put so much stuff back in stock this week, or actually we have more inventory than we've had for over a month. So chances are, if you want something, this is the best code you're going to get all year, and probably until 1 year from now. So
yeah,
we've never done 13% off, have we? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think we.
Yeah,
I don't think we have. This is the most ever.
This is probably
the most. So if you want that Raspberry Pi for your New Year celebration, that's a good time. Don't dip it in champagne.
Yeah.
Not a good idea.
Okay. Let's see. Let's start it off. So we just had the show and tell. Show and tell is every single week. 9:30 Eastern Standard Time.
We have a great logo.
People around the world will show their projects.
I like how this logo has like one of those old style film cameras or something, and it's like, "Hello, I'm like filming the show and tell."
Yeah.
We should definitely record the show and tell like an 8mm or something, like home videos. It's like a big family.
Sometimes there's if there's microphone problems.
It's like a silent film.
It's a silent film, and we do maker charades.
Actually, it would be really cool if we could do interstitial like text boxes, like they did on the silent.
Yeah.
films.
Well, I'm playing the synth now in the show. I should play like little piano. Yeah.
Yeah, very exciting.
Okay.
Especially when people do live demos.
All right. So, Lady Ada, what was on the show and tell?
All right, let me talk about the show and tell. Okay. We had a jam-packed full house. It was interesting because last week we didn't have that many people. We had a lot of people, but it wasn't like crazy full. But today it was actually totally full. We ran out of time almost. Lance came back when he has a really cool project. Actually, this is going to be next year's going to be the year of the Bitcoin wallet.
Yeah, made a real one.
He made a physical Bitcoin wallet. It's got like a trinket and a Bluetooth module and an OLED. Looks kind of like the OLEDs we have in our store. And it's going to like be able to generate addresses. I believe I wasn't completely. I couldn't get the details, but I believe it can generate addresses and give you your hashes of the addresses in your wallet. So that's kind of neat. I don't know. It can't like mine bitcoins because you wouldn't want to do that on an 8-bit processor anyways. But it sounds like you can do like if you need an address and you're not going to memorize it or store it, and you can like see how many bitcoins it thinks you have. So check that out. That's going to be really cool. So he's working on that right now. Christian came by and he made a cool website about 3D printing, and we'll post up the link in the show and tell. I think he posted it up, so if you go to the show and tell link on Google+, you can see that. Renetta. Wait, what was it? What was that name? Kenneth. Sorry.
Kenneth, yeah.
Sorry, Renetta.
I don't
know.
I hastily wrote down a bunch of names.
I was like, we didn't have anybody named Renetta. Kenneth showed up with a massive NeoPixel Christmas tree. This Christmas tree had 10 meters of NeoPixel strip. He got it on Cyber Monday, so good idea. Got it on discount. And he put together all 10 of them with all sorts of different animations. And he put it in his yard, and it looked cool. It was like 3 feet tall or 4 feet tall. And it had like a little spiral thing going on there. And he got Chris Young's code. Chris Young actually did a really awesome job with his little mini Christmas tree. He had like all these like animations like candy cane and like rainbow and like Christmas tree, et cetera, et cetera. So that was a really nice NeoPixel tree. It's cool. Like, there's actually a lot of NeoPixel trees this year. We should do a roundup one maybe before next year so people have ideas. Brian showed up, and he had a really cool project also, which I liked because I liked that it wasn't just decoration. It was like actually a tool. He made a Raspberry Pi powered Naughty or Nice box, and it was just like the pain box that the Bene Gesserit uses in Dune to determine if you're human. No, it basically is, right? Because you stick your hand, it tells you if you're human or not. This one tells you if you're naughty or nice.
It was very clever the way
it doesn't use
it.
pain. It doesn't use pain. It uses a Pi camera, which starts with PI. Pain starts with PI, but it's not the same thing. Well, maybe not. Maybe PAIN. Anyways, but it uses a Raspberry Pi and a Raspberry Pi camera, and it detects. It does object detection to see how big your hand is. Because if it's on a white background, it can see how big your hand is. And then the bigger your hand, the naughtier you are, which is actually quite smart. It's true. Adults are very naughty, and kids are usually completely innocent and angelic, or at least that's what they tell me.
Yeah.
And it was a really cool project. It has a little LCD and tells you a percentage of naughty and nice, and it has like this laser cut thing with snowflakes. It was a very beautiful project, and I like it. It's good because it actually will entertain kids and family members for a couple hours, like on Christmas Day, because like you're sitting around and you're like, well, what are we gonna do after you've opened up all the presents in like 5 minutes, or night before maybe. Okay, and then Dustin came by, and it was kind of half charades because his mic kept cutting out. But from what I can tell, he built a Raspberry Pi that he got on Black Friday from us. He got a Raspberry Pi packet, and he built an AirPlay Raspberry Pi. And so from his like tablet, he has a little mini tablet, like a little 7-inch one or something, or his phone. What you can do is you can send video from your phone to the AirPlay device, and it's running like XBMC, so that you can play videos that are hosted on your phone through the Raspberry Pi onto like a big screen. So it's kind of it's cool. It's like the future, isn't it? Where you like beam a video into your TV. I don't know. AT&T promised me this in those ads. Anyways, he built it, and he also had the idea of maybe using it in his car as a car computer, so he can, instead of having to store data on the car computer, you use your phone or your tablet, and you can just like display the video on like a screen in his car. So that could be good for long car rides. Not for the driver, for passengers. Justin came by, and he showed off the most hardcore bike computer ever. This uses a BeagleBone Black and like a 7-inch screen or something huge. And it was running like X11, and he had like this beautiful monitor with a cadence display and like miles per hour. And he uses it for his winter training bike. And this was really cool because it was just this like ginormous Linux bike computer. It's probably the most hardcore bike computer on Earth. And it's definitely the most open source, for sure. Roberto and Roberto's small assistant came in and showed off his UV lizard control box that they use to turn on and off the UV light for their water lizard. And we also got some really nice close-ups of this lizard. It's adorable. The lizard is super cute. And this lizard is well taken care of. And it has cron jobs. I wish I had cron jobs that take care of me. That'd be kind of cool.
It's our first lizard on the show.
It's our first lizard, yeah. So yeah, he's got like a cron control website thing. I don't know if it was an embedded project. I think it was just a web server, but it was cool. They always have fun projects going on in that household.
Yeah. Okay, Lady Ada.
That was Show and Tell.
How do people get on the Show and Tell?
Getting on the Show and Tell is super easy. They can go to our Google Plus page at plus.google.com/+Adafruit and find the post where I say comment here to get added to the circle. And then once you're added to the circle, then you'll be invited every single week at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time here in New York to show off your awesome project, show off as many as you want. Each time you show off a project, you get an awesome Show and Tell sticker. It's vinyl. It looks really great. You can put on your project. You can put on your car. You can put on your cat. You can put on your lizard. Cool with me.
Yeah. So the other thing is people ask, how do they find out more information about the projects? Well, usually the people who are in the show and tell post comments on the show and tell link.
We ask them to.
Yeah, and they'll share the project. We also do a follow-up when they send us emails, and we do a post on the site. Every participant of the show and tell gets an as seen on the show and tell sticker. If you're on the show and tell, just email support@adafruit.com, and you get a sticker. Okay.
Somebody could cover themselves with stickers if they show
Some people have a nice collection.
And there's some people who have 20.
Yeah.
10,
okay.
20. We're doing a show and tell for how many years? 3 years?
It's getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next up, Pack the Mailbag. Letters.
Pack the Mailbag doesn't have a synth soundtrack, but he does play guitar.
Okay. So this is the letter of the week. This is from Alan. This isn't a complaint. I just wanted to comment that I couldn't believe how fast you guys, A, shipped the order that I placed, B, how fast it got to my place. It's hard to beat service like that. Thanks so much from a happy customer. Yay.
Yay, not a complaint.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny is a lot of times you only hear complaints. Our customers are very nice. They send us nice letters when things work out too.
Somebody posted an awesome thread in the forums about how great the EZ-Link worked for them, which was really nice. It warmed my heart. They're like, they tried 5 other Bluetooth wireless serial connections for their remote control astronomy.
Yeah.
Because you use a computer to like have the telescope follow stars and constellations, and they said nothing else worked, but the EZ-Link worked flawlessly.
Yeah. So thanks, and keep sending the letters in. Okay, some news around the web. I wanted to try to have some stuff from the end of the year. Our normal show, we have news. This is neat. George Takei posted this up, and he called this Enterprise NCC Fabulous.
This is fabulous.
This is an LED Enterprise made with Christmas lights. This is really cool.
What's cool is you can't quite tell how big it is, but it looks like
it looks huge.
It looks like it's like 10 feet tall.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah. Also celebrating a birthday this week, Newton.
That's right. Newton's birthday is on Christmas Day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what all these celebrations have been around in New York City.
Newton's awesome.
Yeah.
And this is a really nice painting of him. He looks dashing.
Yeah. There's the Newton's Day parade that Macy does every year. Newton's Day sale.
Well, they couldn't do the parade if they didn't understand Newtonian physics. So
yeah.
It's all about Newtonian physics, like buoyancy and movement and forces and wind speeds.
All right.
That guy looks kind of like a rocker here. He looks like he's just gonna.
So that's the guitarist from Queen, I think.
I know.
All right. So.
Okay. Anyway.
And someone also sent us this great holiday poem, so I thought I would read it.
Wow, it's a poem.
Yeah. And it's by Douglas Otwell.
Okay.
And we posted this on the site on Christmas Eve. But here it goes. 'Twas the night in December, and all through the house, not a keyboard was clicking, not even a mouse. The children were restless with uncontained glee, all jacked up in candy canes filched from the tree. When a noise could be heard from up on the roof, do you think that's her? Well, of course it is, Goof. In a flash she appeared in all black head to knees, her eyes a sparkle like bright LEDs. Her hair a deep purple, her nails to match, and a sack full of goodies with wires attached. She went to work quickly, her task to attain, what a black cat named Mosfet just to watch with disdain.
That's exactly what Mosfet does all the time.
From her subarctic workshop in Brooklyn, of course, came these wonderful playthings, all open source, with each tiny elf dressed in green shoes and cap, filled black cardboard boxes with bubbly wrap. Timmy's a hacker, a maker and modder. For him, a new iron and plenty of solder. Bright, shiny objects still fascinate Peter. Glowy new pixels are the best by the meter. Jane is the smart one, as bright as you please. For her, a blue breakout with 8 ADCs. I too was included with widening eyes, Arduinos, Beagle Bones, and Raspberry Pis. The stockings were stuffed with an audible squee with flora and gemmas and trinkets, some free. In a jiff, she was gone and back on the roof. She mounted her sleigh, Mosfet watching aloof. She settled in tight and gave the command, but she still looked round while pausing her hand. And then she called out before turning back, Merry making to all and to all a good hack.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an intense poem. And it's actually really good and everything rhymes.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
That's hard. You have to what's funny is you can tell it was written by an American because they put in solder.
Yeah.
Which people from England and other proper Queen's English spelling are always hassling me because Americans pronounce it solder, not solder. And they say there's an L in there, and then I'm like, look, English spelling is totally ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's hard to spell.
Okay.
It's hard to rhyme something with solder.
And then next up, we have a special season's greeting message. Paint Your Dragon Phil B did a fantastic job, and he did a light painting, and it was delightful. I got this in my inbox.
Light painting Christmas card video.
Right around the holidays. And he did these great things, and this one looks great. It just looks like it's a wreath that's photoshopped on a photo, but it's not. And here is a very short video. Okay, and we're back.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, it's very nice.
What's funny is if you watch it at 3 in the morning, you're like, no L? No
yeah.
L.
No, when I saw that, I'm like, no L's? What? Oh, no L. Okay, yeah. All right. Next up, moving right along. I wanted Lady Ada to talk about this. What is this thing that you're holding?
It's a space disc from Voyager.
No, it's not.
And no. This is our first stencil.
You talked about this last week.
This is, in behind you can see the stenciler, but this is the stencil that is used. It's quite large. To make it work with the boards we have, we actually have, the stencil itself is only etched in the middle. And the reason you need such a big stencil is because the stencil machine clamps on the edges, and you need it to be 29 inches by 29 inches. And there's a squeegee, and the squeegee is like 24 inches wide or so, or 20 inches wide, and so you can't use smaller stencils because the squeegee wouldn't be able to sit flat. And so this is like a gigantic stencil. We got this from MET, which was MET, which is in New Jersey. They did an excellent job. This is the first stencil. We're going to eventually have to get all of our stencils. We have like 50 stencils. They'll all have to go over to this 29-inch format, which is the standard stenciler format. It's kind of cool. So it's got an extruded aluminum welded frame that's like perfectly square, and then this stainless steel, perfectly flat, perfectly tense inside with the etching in the middle. So we'll try this out. This should help improve yields on some of our finer pitch items. What's interesting also about this stenciler is I always wondered, how does the stenciler know where to put the stencil on the PCB? Because every PCB, the cut to the outside is not as precise as the copper. What happens actually is that on the stencil itself, you can get fiducials placed on the stencil, and so you actually get fiducials put on the stencil that match they're etched in, like laser etched, like lightly, and they match the fiducials on the circuit board. So there's like 8 fiducials on that stencil, like 4 in each corner or something, and then the vision on the stenciler looks up before it pushes the stencil against the circuit board, and it can see these etched dots, they're not as reflective as unetched metal, and then that's how it knows how to align the stencil perfectly, because then it looks down, it looks at the PCB, and then it does the alignment, which is actually the hardest part of stenciling. The squeegeeing itself is actually like not that hard, right? It's just pulling the squeegee back and forth. The really hard part about stenciling is you have to align the stencil with the circuit board incredibly close, so like perfect has to be like 0.01 millimeter precision, because if you're doing like BGA stuff with 0.3 millimeter spacing, which I've seen on some like horrible stuff, 0.3 millimeters means like you can't have any error at all, so you need these fiducials. You can't just do it by guessing. You actually have to do a full vision alignment, so it's a pretty intense machine.
I thought you were going to announce that this is, so we did Flora, then Gemma. This would be Gloria, the new wearables.
The largest Arduino.
The largest wearable Arduino yet. Okay. You thought we were just going to keep making smaller ones? No.
I think it would be cool.
Yeah. 3 volt and 240 volt.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right. Next up, Adafruit Learning System. Hundreds of tutorials. The best source online for learning. I'm just going to mention this one because we have some photos and a video. But this week on the Adafruit Learning System, how to make your own 3D printed mic holder, which is awesome.
Audio reactive.
Auto reactive.
Yeah, that's you have to remember it not just blinks, but it actually blinks more when you speak. So that's kind of fun.
Okay. Well, let's keep moving. We'll do Wearable Wednesday. So Wearable Wednesday, all the news that's fit to wear. Wearable Electronics with Becky Stern returns in 2014. Each show was Christmas Day and then New Year's Day, so that show is taking a break.
Those are paid days off here.
But yeah, we give people the day off here. Lady A and I do not get off, but everyone else does. And so we have those shows returning on in January.
Yeah.
And do check out the wearable section on the site on Wednesday, or just come to the site on Wednesday, Wearable Wednesday, where we show all sorts of awesome and interesting things. Yeah. So
we pre-schedule them.
Yeah. So as a lot of you've noticed, we have a new cosplay section. So I wanted to show some of the cool costumes. So this one is a Mr. Freeze, and what's cool is people are showing how they're making all these costumes too. So that's
this is a nice cardboard build. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's nice. Look at,
So
look at the hexagonal thing going on.
Yeah, and then you can see what the end result is. It's kind of neat the way they show how all the stuff they're doing. And then here's this tree guy. This is,
it's an ant.
Yeah, it's an ant. And they show, like, again, more cardboard and more how it's built, and more science fiction stuff coming in, and lots of plaster work. When you look at all these costumes and all the making that goes into it, it's really impressive.
This is cool.
And we really want people to check out this section and start contributing some of their own projects. So that's what we're working on. This was kind of neat. We posted this a while ago, but then it showed up on the blog again. This was in the New York Times. This is how you defeat the cameras if you don't want...
Dazzle vision.
Yeah, what's interesting is it looks like all the extras from Blade Runner. So, like, maybe they were on something.
This is like Pris's cousin.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a project from a while ago, but it finally got picked up. I think now just because, like, all the NSA stuff's in the news, people are thinking a lot about privacy and surveillance. So, yeah, this is how to make... face recognition, avoiding makeup and hair. A lot of it is about asymmetry and avoiding the bridge of your nose, hiding the bridge of your nose and the shadow underneath your nose, which is what a lot of, and the shadows of your eyes, which is what a lot of these face recognition algorithms look for. So that's why, you know, she has her hair that covers her eyes, and she has like this vertical thing here that confuses her nose. Yeah. So it's cool because like humans can still recognize that it's a face, but computers have difficulty.
Yeah. This looks cool. This person would totally fit in here at Adafruit. We have a lot of people who we don't have a dress code here, so it'd be totally.
Yeah, this would be cool.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, this is kind of neat. The details are on the blog, but a fashion designer is starting to use Flora and Flora GPS specifically as a fashion item. So I'm going to zoom in. This is a model, and they have this cool jacket, and then you can see there's a Flora, and they're using these gemstones, and that's a Flora GPS there.
Yeah, there's Flora and GPS, just like your GPS coat.
Yeah.
And we just followed the tutorial.
And then here's another one. Here's another photo. And, you know, at first it just looks like it must be a brooch or something, but it's the...
How did we find this? Did they send it in?
They sent it in.
Oh,
yeah,
neat.
It's a French designer, and we posted it up, and it's cool.
I think the GPS actually looks pretty cool because it's got this square look, and then this round look, and then the scalloped edges. It's like it's kind of symmetric, but kind of not symmetric.
Yeah, gemstones. Someone said that in the chat. Okay, so next up, Noah and Pedro, Team Ruiz, who works with us here at Adafruit, put together a short little video about wearable electronics, and I'm going to play it. All right.
Yeah.
On to 3D Thursday. Every Thursday, all the news that's fit to print in 3D. All right. This made the rounds. I think we had this posted on our site first, but and then I saw it everywhere.
Firsties.
Yeah. This is it's a 3D printed Jello shot thing. So what it does is it prints out liquid inside of Jello.
Probably like a food coloring
yeah,
or something.
So
hopefully
it's cool.
not ink.
Yeah, it's cool, and I think it used, as
needle.
I recall, a CD-ROM driving parts.
Oh
That's
yeah,
really
so
cool.
it moves up and down, and it prints a little. Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah, it was really neat, and kind of
So it's in Jello shots.
Yeah.
Can it print out the words? This is a mistake. I mean,
yeah, I guess there's nothing really.
not a lot of good comes from Jello shots.
Yeah, they're tasty there. And then next up on 3D Thursday, we have another video I wanted to share. This is what I was talking about earlier. The
sound reactive 3D printed mic.
Yeah.
Flag.
Yeah.
That's, I guess, the word for these.
All right, so here we go.
Want to rock the audience at your next party? Build a 3D printed LED mic flag using a NeoPixel ring and Gemma. You can get the parts and tools for this project on Adafruit's shop. Check out our guide on Adafruit's learning system for a complete tutorial. The adjustable mic sensor makes the LEDs sound reactive. 3D print our design or customize it to make your own. The circuit nicely fits in the bottom cover. Measure and label each wire to cut. Using shrink tubing, add pieces to the handy tool for safe clipping. Solder the components for a solid connection. A slide switch easily turns the circuit on and off. A circuit diagram can be found in our full tutorial. Position and snap in the circuit to the bottom cover. Slide the microphone through the hole. Position the frame to snap it to the bottom. The switch pops into the frame. Fit the top cover over the mic to snap it into place. Use the filter to tightly secure the cover. Add a logo or title to the frame to make it yours. What awesome party will you rock with this project? Build your own and let us know by joining our weekly show and tell.
Okay, and there we
This is
go.
really great for electronic karaoke night.
Yeah.
If you can't sing, just bring electronics.
Yeah, I like these projects because the fun part is you could take something like working with a Gemma or NeoPixels, and then I think when people get 3D printers, they're not sure what projects they can do, and certainly they can't share their 3D printed works everywhere they go or have necessarily a project to do.
Well, a lot of it is like little things that, it's like in and of themselves are not something that you can share very easily. It's like, oh, it's like a cute
They're
little
little
toy.
knickknacks or something. Yeah, I like actually things with a purpose.
It's like they're desk things. This is nice because these are things that, well, karaoke is apparently really cool in New York, and I don't karaoke, but apparently everyone else does. And so this is something that you can take to your next karaoke night, and it will make it more fun.
Yeah, and you can. And it's also when we do interviews here, we're going to use that.
Yeah, we have to get it here so we can. The problem is they'll be like, "What is this glowing thing?"
News you
can glow.
Newscast Adafruit. Okay, next up is Pi Day.
We're making our way through the week.
Yeah, Pi Day. It's here. For Pi Day, for projects that we like, I picked out a couple. One's from us and one is out there. This is a Raspberry Pi cat feeder. Isn't that cool?
And it has googly eyes.
It has little googly eyes, and it looks like a friendly thing that, yeah.
Oh, I've got little tentacles that I can give food to your pet.
Yeah.
All right. And there's 2 pets, or how does this work?
I believe there's 2 pets, yes.
Okay, and each one has its own bowl. This is good, because a lot of them, they only have one bowl. This is a multi-pet feeder.
Yeah. Okay, and then next up, we re-released, and we had our tweeting keg.
Keg-o-matic.
Yeah, the Kegematic.
Keg-o-matic.
Yeah. And here's the Kegematic. Here's the Kegematic's interface.
Kegerator.
Yeah.
Robot.
And
I like it because it looks like some sort of weird 70s game. It's like on Commodore 64.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I have a little factory, and it's like burger time, but it's beer time.
Yeah. And we initially, the internal name of the project was Kegbot, but the outside name is Kegematic. So I have a video, and we'll roll the video, but the name of the project now is Kegematic.
Kegematic.
This is the Adafruit Kegbot. This is a team project here at Adafruit Industries. This is all of us from different departments coming together to see what we can do to augment a regular Kegerator. We prototyped it with an Arduino and a flow meter to see how much people at Adafruit were drinking from the keg. Right now we just have root beer coming out of it.
We hooked up the keg, but we need to calibrate our flow sensor. So we're gonna dispense a whole liter of root beer, and then we'll know what it thinks a liter is, right, Teddy?
Right, exactly. Math. All right, here we go.
Ooh, look at that.
After we prototyped the Kegbot with the Arduino, we hooked it up to a Raspberry Pi, and it's now tweeting from Adafruit Kegbot. We documented the build for the Kegbot on the Adafruit Learning System, so please check it out if you're interested in exploring augmenting your own Kegbot. So this is just the beginning. We're going to be getting another keg with alcoholic beer in the future, so please subscribe and post your suggestions for our future projects on the YouTube channel. Thank you.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Thank you, Teddy and Becky.
Yeah. So and Tony, who did the coding on that.
And Tony did the engineering, yeah. And we had a root beer keg, and we told the team, we're not getting an alcoholic beer keg until you finish the Kegematic.
Yeah, they actually.
It's really easy to sort of be like, oh, we're totally gonna make this keg interface, but then it's you know, until you actually withhold beer.
Yeah. I think this is how the pyramids and how society was formed and how every great project, in the end, it's really about the beer.
Or slaves. But in this case, it was beer.
Yeah. This one was, it was beer.
It was beer. We used beer bribery.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, all right.
Anyways, it's totally fun, and we have 2 kegs now going, and we actually have bifurcation going on, so you can actually control 2 kegs, and we'll soon add more technologies such as fingerprint scanners,
RFID, and
RFID, or like Pi cameras to take a photo of you as you're. I don't know what we're gonna do, but we'll come up with something cool so we can have more info about.
Okay. Before we move on to new products, don't forget, folks, the code is 13. That's 13% off everything in stock in the Adafruit store. Only exception is EagleCAD, which, by the way, lots of people are purchasing EagleCAD. They were waiting until, because I guess it was complicated to buy EagleCAD.
It is complicated.
I guess it was complicated, but
I bought it once, and it was like, I mean, you can through the CADsoft website, but it's not. It's a little more complicated. You can't just like check out. You have to kind of send an email, and then they respond.
Yeah.
And then, I did for the 3 license version that we have. But you know what? It's now easier than ever. You can actually just pay, check out, and we'll send you a code within a couple hours during the weekday.
Yeah.
And then on the
no, it
weekend,
works out great. People are having a good time, and folks are getting the hobbyist one.
Yeah.
They're getting the standard one and the professional one. So that's the only thing we can't put on sale is because it's software.
Yeah.
So we can't do that. But everything else in the store is 13%
if it's physical
off right
and made out of atoms, it's 13% off.
Yeah.
But you should also pick up a copy of Eagle. So if you've been using Eagle for free now, I know it's not open source software. There's open source software alternatives such as Gita and KiCad, and they're very good.
Yeah, we link to those in the Eagle product pages.
Yeah.
If you want open source
last
versions,
minute, you don't know about. But
yeah.
for CAD software, it's really good, and it's a really good deal. The hobbyist nonprofit license is only like $170. That's a really good deal for like CAD software. I mean, compared to like 3D CAD software, like it's a steal.
Yeah.
3D CAD software can get really expensive.
Okay, so let's move on to new products. All right, Lady Ada.
Yeah.
New products.
I'm ready to do them. We don't have a lot of new products. But,
yeah, we got 3 things.
But they count.
Yeah, we got 3 things.
Okay.
All right, the first thing is
Bitcoin badge.
This is what a Bitcoin actually is. People keep asking what's a Bitcoin, and
we go to restaurants and we just put this down with our bill, and we're like, it's taken care of, right?
Yeah.
One Bitcoin.
Yeah. So this is this is a Bitcoin badge. These are just like a lot of the other Adafruit badges.
These are really nice.
Yeah, let's put on the overhead. I'm trying to figure out some overhead stuff tonight.
Okay, so Bitcoin badge. It's a little slow, but you can see it. Bitcoin. It's got that nice little Bitcoin logo. It's iron-on. It's kind of gold and glossy. It looks just like a real Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you like Bitcoin, you want to show it off, get a Bitcoin badge.
Yeah.
We have some stickers for people who want something less sellable.
So, yeah, one thing about our badges, I wanted to talk about this. So these are made in the USA. We could get these made elsewhere around the world for a lot cheaper, but they would be not as good quality. And who knows?
They're made in New Jersey.
And who knows how they would be made? So these are made in New Jersey by a family-owned company named Ambro Manufacturing, and the whole facility is solar-powered, and they use all non-toxic inks, threads, to you just have a better environmental impact. So,
and because we take Bitcoin, you can buy this with 0.0001 Bitcoin, whatever the smallest percentage of Bitcoin you can divide out.
Yeah.
You can buy Bitcoin badges with Bitcoins.
Yeah.
Spend them now before they're worth nothing.
And the idea behind the skill badges that we had is there's a lot of modern skills that the current scouting organizations probably won't adopt. The Girl Scouts are moving right along very fast. They're getting computer science and stuff in there. The Boy Scouts, they have some technology things, but what we've proposed is they should they're free to, if they want, adopt some of our ideas for badges. So 3D printing, Python. You know, every young person's scouting organization, dumpster diving. Every young person's scouting organization
That's
can
more
have
useful than knots.
Yeah.
I don't use knots on a daily basis.
Laser cutting. These are, you know, modern skills that we think that would be really important. These organizations are just focused on other things, I think, and maybe one day they'll have these things, cookies and jamborees and all that stuff.
They should sell cookies for Bitcoin. I mean, like, well, that would be really cool.
And then recently there was an organization, Hacker Scouts, and the Boy Scouts actually said, don't call your thing Hacker Scouts. So we have our skill badges, and Bitcoin is one of them. There's a lot of young people that used our tutorial for the Bitcoin miner, mined Bitcoins back when it was a little bit more lucrative to do it, and then they spent their Bitcoins at Adafruit because now we accept Bitcoin.
That's the story of Bitcoins.
Yeah.
Actually, we'll post up this really cool doggy coin tutorial next week, which I really liked. Which is it's like Bitcoin without all the drama.
All right, next up.
Clips.
What are these, Lady?
These are little silicone NeoPixel clips that they come from the factory that makes the NeoPixels. And if you go to the next photo, you can see how to use them. They just go over the NeoPixel, and you can use little screws, and you can attach them to like wood or plastic or fiberboard or whatever, and probably even thin metal. So you have some NeoPixel, and you don't want to glue them onto something. This is a really great alternative, and you can slide them in and out of the clips. They're rubbery and soft, so they can stretch. And so yeah, that's nice. You get a pack of 5 clips and then 10 screws, and very handy for when you want to attach your NeoPixel strips to something, like a tree.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, we have.
This is the final ring. Well, no, this is the second final ring.
Everybody asked for different size rings, and now we deliver. So
you can't say we don't have all the littlest rings. We now have 12 rings. We started with 16 because that's exactly what would fit inside goggles. Also, 16 is a nice number. It's power of 2. And then we moved up to 24 because people wanted to make like clock type things, which had 24 pixels, or they just wanted something larger. And then this is a 12, so it's a little petite. It's not small enough to fit inside of the 16 LED ring, but it'll fit inside the 24. And it's just nice. It's a little mini ring. Might be good for like smaller jewelry, like if you want to make like the Gemma earrings, but you don't want something as big. And I can show it on the overhead.
Okay. Yeah, we're having.
Well, it'll glow.
Yeah, that's nice.
I mean, you can see it. It's glowing.
Yeah.
It's cute. It's small. So it's NeoPixels. You only need one pin to control them, and you can chain as many as you want. And they run off of 5-ish volts, and they are bright as hell. A lot of people complain that they get blinded by these NeoPixels because our photos, we show the color, so they're not blown out. But the trade-off is if you don't see how bright they are. They're really, really bright.
Yeah.
NeoPixel.
Okay. All right. So that's the NeoPixel ring. And then what? A couple questions that people had about these.
Ask questions about these rings.
Back to the clips real quick. Are those clips compatible with the non-NeoPixel LED strips too?
You can check the technical details tab of the product. It tells you exactly how big the strip has to be. Yeah. They are designed for the NeoPixel strips that we have. It may or may not work with any other kind of strip.
And then maybe we should do a new photo of the 12, the 16, and the 24.
Yeah, now that we have them, we can do a photo of all of them.
And then would it be possible to do a watch with these things?
You can do a little watch. We did the Flora NeoPixel ring watch with the GPS. You could use this as well. It's small. You could also just use a Gemma. and a little real-time clock module.
Yeah.
And
Will the
make a little
Gemma
watch.
fit inside of this?
It won't
Or
fit inside because the Gemma is about the same size, but it'll fit behind it.
It fits right behind it.
Yeah,
so flush with it?
it'll be basically the same size.
Okay.
It's a little bit smaller, but it's not. It won't fit inside of it. The Gemma fits perfectly inside the 16 LED ring, which you can look at if you look at our Gemma projects. It's like it fits like perfectly inside.
Can each LED be controlled on or off?
Yeah, I just have
they're fully addressable.
Each one has 24-bit color. I have them all on because it's kind of otherwise people are like, hey, does that LED not work? You can turn them on any color you want, and the code allows you to just address each one.
Okay.
You know, in
and
your
can
own.
you change the brightness?
Yeah, the library that Paint Your Dragon wrote has a brightness control. You can also just have the red, green, and blue component be smaller, or you can just change the full brightness of all of them. But a lot of people prefer to just have them full bright because they're like, you know, once you have LEDs, you're just like, you get drunk on LED power, and you're like, I want to brighten them up as much as possible.
How difficult would it be to do a NeoPixel matrix on a flexible PCB?
It's hard because the reason it's difficult is because flexible PCBs are flexible where they don't have copper. Where they do have copper, the copper has to be very thin, and so the copper can't pass a lot of current. And so NeoPixel matrices take a lot of current because they're not multiplex, so each LED can take up to 60 milliamps. It adds up really fast. Like our 8x8 matrix plate, I think can draw up to like 3 or 4 amps, which is kind of ridiculous. Even at 1 amp, sort of standard usage or 1.5 amps, passing that much through a flex PCB and having the copper be thin enough, it's a trade-off of thin copper versus power draw. It just wouldn't be that flexible. So I think a PCB is a better way to go. You can also just use the strips and tile them, and then you can just have strips and just sort of zigzag them, and that would be a little bit flexible. But the strips, because they're only flexible in one dimension, they can be thicker. They're not very thin flex PCBs. They're flexible, but they're not that unflexible.
Okay, when the brightness is turned down on a NeoPixel, does that reduce the current?
Yes, it's true for any kind of LED. The less current you have, the dimmer it is.
Okay, all right. And with that?
That was the new products of the year.
That's
all we put in this year. 3 items this year.
No, in fact.
I hope you enjoyed it.
On average, we put in like 2 a day.
We put in 1.5 items a day on many parts of the year, but it was at least 1 on average per day.
Yeah.
And I tried not to do just like, oh, here's like 17 buttons. I did a bunch of buttons.
Yeah.
And a couple of different like LED things, but for the most part, every item we put in was a unique, useful, interesting thing on its own. I think we had pretty much all hits. I don't think anything we put in the store I discontinued even.
Yeah. Okay. We
popular,
have some time, so we're gonna go to one of the internet's favorite segments.
Also, it's Christmas.
It's not out yet. Don't ask. All right.
So this is a
we got
present.
2 things that you're working on. This is from your desk. I run over and take photos, and sometimes you chase me away, but sometimes you don't.
Sometimes I'm busy touching things, so I'm like, I can't chase you away.
Yeah. So what is this, Lady Ada?
This is me playing with a capacitive touch overlay for our 10-inch HDMI screens, and it works. Yay! So with the Raspberry Pi, it also works with other stuff. So that's cool.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to putting that in the store. This was my final test after testing about 25 different capacitive overlays. This one was a good balance of price and performance.
Okay.
I like capacitive overlays because you don't have to calibrate them like resistive overlays.
Okay. And then what is this?
And this is the TFP401 driver board I'm working on. You can see actually it's also, it's a 7-inch screen. It's not 10-inch, it's 7-inch. And you can also see the capacitive overlay. And the reason you can tell it's capacitive is that you can tell it's like a tablet. It's got that black overlay. And that's pretty much how you know it's a bonded glass capacitive touch panel on top of it. So I'm playing around with, this is a sample from the factory. I got to work on my Windows computer, but the TFP401 is the driver chip I'm using here.
Yeah.
It's from TI, and it's a pretty intense HDMI decoder, the DVI decoder actually, technically, with an HDMI plug, so it works with HDMI as well. And hopefully we'll be able to have it do HDMI and capacitive touch and resistive touch at the same time. Tough stuff.
We're just going to continue doing the most counterintuitive things. So everyone.
It's been like 2 or 3 weeks of just like solid HDMI for me.
Everyone says.
I'm so sick of it.
Don't give away intellectual property. We do open source. We give it all away. Don't ever go on the live internet where everything's recorded. If you do a show, and like certainly don't do a show about electronics.
Wait, is this live?
Yeah, and it's
Wait,
recorded.
what?
And it's recorded.
What?
And don't show your product roadmap of all the things you're working on.
Yeah.
So we do both of those. So it's not out yet, don't ask.
But we're working on it. I've been actually
Yeah.
working on the capacitive overlay stuff for over a year now. I remember last Christmas I actually started working on this stuff.
Yeah.
Getting, luckily, the capacitive overlay stuff is finally trickling into, because it's in like every tablet, every cell phone, it's trickling into the hobbyist market. So
Yeah.
I'm able to actually buy this stuff now and put it in the store. But man, the tooling and like minimum quantity fees are huge. Like it's a $2,000 or $3,000 tooling for a capacitive panel.
Yeah.
Because it's never exactly, you can't necessarily use something that's used in a tablet, because the tablets are changing so fast that if you use something that's a stock tablet component, it'll be discontinued within 6 months. And so I
Yeah.
actually needed to have a lot of these made by a factory that does capacitive panels, touch panels. And so it's a couple $1,000s for tooling for each size, and it's probably going to be a couple different sizes. And then you have to order like 1,000. That's the minimum order quantity. So hopefully it'll be popular.
Okay. Don't forget the code is 13% off everything Native Fruit store except for Eagle Cat until midnight, which is about an hour from now. So, yeah, some restrictions apply.
Sorry, Tennessee.
Yeah. Real quick.
Okay.
Let's do questions. We're going to answer questions. Ask your engineering questions. Ask good engineering questions. Stump Lady Ada. Okay, I have a couple queued up here.
Okay, you have some questions.
The first one is the Max 4466 electric mic compatible with the VS1053 breakout?
Yeah, you can use that electric mic. Because it already has the electret mic preamplifier built into it, it gives you analog out. You'll want to connect it directly to the line in, and I think you only need like a filter capacitor or something. You don't need to. You don't need to add all the other components to bias the electret mic.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit more expensive than just using electret mic directly. But you can use it for mono audio. It'll probably actually sound pretty good because the electric mic amp it's actually a little better at amplifying cleanly than the VS1053, which kind of can do audio recording, but it's not what it's good at.
Yeah.
I'd say it's good at music playing. Recording works, but it's like not. It doesn't have high fidelity.
Yeah.
It's low cost.
But
it can do encoding, which is kind of nice.
Next up, any good resources for getting the basics of setting up a web server control and LED using a CC3000 shield?
We've got tons of tutorials on that. So if you check out the learn.adafruit.com CC3000, like search for CC3000, we've got like a couple dozen tutorials or whatever, like almost a dozen tutorials, and there's 2 or 3 of them that use website control for servos or motors or LEDs or whatever, so you can just check those out. I think a couple of them use Amazon services that are free, so that can help you do website control without having to run your own server, because that's just a pain. It's easier to use a service like Zively or Amazon to do the actual hosting for you, and I think we use Dynamo. It was like the cat bowl sensor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the cat bowl sensor, pet bowl, if you
Yeah.
don't like cats, or lizard bowl.
Yeah.
If you have a lizard.
Okay.
Enough for the furry pet projects.
We're on
more
the
lizards.
we're on the reptiles.
More reptile electronic projects.
Okay.
Heating pads.
What do you watch or read to keep up to date with the latest open hardware projects? Well.
Oh, we check all sorts of stuff with your blogs.
Yeah.
People send us in actually really cool stuff all the time.
So that's one of the things. Now that the Adafruit blog has become like a traffic monster where people are sending us projects, we have around 11 million page views, so people get their projects on the site, and it really helps them get the word out.
Also, the Google Plus community page we have is really good.
The makers, hackers, artists, and engineers, the Adafruit page. Hackaday, I check. It's the site I started a long time ago, and now the folks that are running it are doing a good job celebrating open source. And then I actually talk to the open source makers that are very prolific. So Bunny, Wendell, I find out what they're working on, and I usually like to write about it. And then in the Make site, they usually feature open source hardware too. So those are the main places I look.
Yeah.
Next up, are we going to stock any screen capes for the BeagleBone Black?
We might. We don't know yet. We have to investigate stuff. Right now we're having difficulty even keeping the BeagleBone Black in stock. But a lot of the stuff that I'm working on with the capacitive overlays and HDMI screens will work with the BeagleBone Black because it has a HDMI plug. So, using something like that, it's nice because then you can use it with a Pi or BeagleBone or any other kind of ARM processor that can do HDMI out.
Okay. So Some good questions tonight. What makes the, this was asked before, but I can answer it. Does the Gemma fit inside the new NeoPixel? No, it fits right behind it.
Behind it.
Like almost, there's.
I outlined it, yeah.
Yeah. Next up, what makes the NRF 51822 better than the Bluetooth modules like the CC2540 and the CC2541? Do you know anything about this?
Yeah, those are Bluetooth energy modules, and those are the two kind of options on the market. The CC2540 we looked at, and we also looked at the Nordic stuff. And Nordic just does a really, really good job at their RF front ends. They just have really good code bases, and because they're not as big a company, they're actually more friendly to hackers and makers. They're less likely to bog you down with bureaucracy, which TI is a really big company, so it's tougher to get help or submit bugs or something. So K-Town, who's working on Bluetooth energy stuff, really likes the Nordic chipset. The NRF 5188822 has a Cortex M0 processor in it. It's incredibly low power. Like, you can run this thing for like a year on a coin cell. In fact, almost all of the little mini activity monitors or like location beacon things, they're all NRF 51822. And I'm pretty sure that the reason because of that is because it is much lower power. It can run for a lot longer. And it's just a really elegant core with a lot of good code support. A good, I think the compiler is just the ARM AEBI free compiler, GCC compiler. So I think that's kind of what we're going to go with, given the choice between the two. I think we looked at both, and we kind of decided like Nordic. Nordic's a really good company. They have like really, really good RF stuff, and K-Town is like on top of it.
Okay. All right. Lots more questions ahead. We have more.
Also, I think Nordic has more example code. We kind of like too. They have like example apps and stuff.
Trying to turn a Raspberry Pi into data logger for historic vehicle, but I'm having a problem figuring out how to turn on the analog feed from the sensors into digital for the GPIO on the Pi. Any options?
Sure, we have a tutorial on analog digital conversion for the Raspberry Pi. You just use an analog digital converter chip. It's like $1 or $2, and you can read up to 8 sensors very easily.
Okay, this question I don't quite understand. Maybe you can help me out with this later. Would you consider breaking out the pair button pin on the EasyLink module in the future revision? I would like to initiate pairing via XB in a difficult to reach Arduino.
The pair button is not.
It doesn't do it. I don't think it does it.
You don't. It doesn't quite. The pair button doesn't quite work the same way it works with keyboards. You don't actually need to use it unless you really, really screwed up something with the EasyLink. You shouldn't have to ever really press it unless like something really screwed up happens. So having it won't help you if you try pressing it. If the Bluetooth isn't visible to a computer, it's not going to be visible. Okay.
Next up, what's the best Adafruit thing to buy with $25? I already have a Pi and an Arduino.
$25. You can get an Arduino shield.
Yeah.
That could be really fun. A lot of people like a motor shield. It's $20, and then you get a motor for another $1 or $2.
Yeah.
You probably get 2 stepper motors and a motor shield.
That's good.
For $25. So there you go. Like, you can also start making like your drawing robots.
Right. Any NFC projects coming up for us?
I think we kind of covered all of NFC stuff, and also we think NFC is not going to be as popular as Bluetooth Low Energy. It seems like NFC is you know, basically it comes down to who's going to use what for payment processing, and we thought maybe NFC would be it, but it seems like most phones are not necessarily going to have NFC. Yeah. We did as much NFC support as we could without having to sign any NDAs. Doing any more though required signing a lot of documents that we really didn't want to, like actually being able to do like payment processing and stuff, which they have APIs for, but like they wouldn't give us access to them. So reading and writing cards is kind of at the limit of what open source hardware can do with NFC.
Okay.
Which is why Bluetooth Low Energy is really
We're going to do speed round for 2 minutes. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm working on IR LED project. How does the current brightness affect distance? I couldn't find anything on the data for LED IRs that Adafruit stock. Is this proportional?
Check the data sheet for any IR LED or any LED. It'll tell you about LED spread versus distance. They usually have a graph that shows angle versus power, but it falls off with R squared. So just be aware of that. Like current is usually linear with brightness, but brightness is square root of distance.
Okay, I'd love
Or
to
is it
make a
cube root?
large matrix that can scroll, etc. What would be the best way to do this? We have one in the store.
We have a couple matrices. We have the RGB 16 by 32 matrix, which you can do 16 by 32, and then we also have the red LED matrices that you just, they're like $20 or something or less, and then you can chain like up to 11. So you can make a sign that's like 5 or 6 feet long, that's 8 pixels high, or 16 pixels high. So that's a lot of scrolling.
Okay. Next
And we have a scrolling text
we do.
example for it.
All right. Is it possible to parse HTML taken from the web with the CC3000?
You cannot parse HTML with regular expressions, that's for sure.
Okay.
It's hard. You probably want to use a service or a YUN or something for anything more complicated than just basic searching.
Okay. Is there a practical limit of how much video screen you can push with an Arduino board? What's the limiting factor?
You can control up to 800 by 480 pixels using the RA8875 breakout that we have. That is the largest screen that you can control with a with an Arduino. Raspberry Pis can do like 1920 by 1200.
Yeah.
And those can get really big. That's basically a gigantic TV, but for an Arduino, it's basically a 5-inch, 7-inch display.
Okay. Thank you, Lady Ada. Those were a bunch of good questions.
All right.
That was the last questions of the year.
Last questions of the year.
For the folks that we couldn't get to, just
No more
stop back
questions.
next week.
Or next year.
If it's a technical question, you can always just post up in the forums. Let's do the trivia question.
Okay. What
Ada,
year is
what
it?
are the rules? No,
Rules
don't do that.
The rules are, if you've ever won the trivia question, even if it was last year, you can't enter again. There's only one winner per lifetime. We want to have everybody win a fabulous prize. Today's lovely prize is this NeoPixel ring, 12 LED ring. Ooh, it's so glowy.
We're giving away this.
You could wear it on New Year's Eve. It would make a lovely little wearable brooch.
Yeah.
Using a gem or a trinket. So the first person to type in the correct
Yeah.
answer into the chat is the winner
Yeah.
of this awesome ring of
Yeah.
LEDs.
All right.
All
You
right.
ready?
Yes.
Here it is. Isaac Newton wrote a book, and it was considered the foundations for most of classical mechanics. It was published in 1687. What was the name of the book that
Engineers, you better know this.
Isaac Newton wrote?
If you're an engineer or mathematician,
Yeah.
you better know this.
If you can say it in English, or you can,
No, you have to say it in the original language.
well, it's okay.
Yeah.
Principia Mathematica.
Yeah.
Congratulations, EOSRL. You got it.
Yasrilla.
Rosserl. Congratulations.
Yeah. That's a good one.
You won. Email support@adafruit.com and you get a NeoPixel.
NeoPixel ring.
All right.
Who doesn't love LEDs?
Okay, everybody. Thank you for a fantastic year. Thank you, everyone on the Adafruit team who makes this possible. Thank you, everyone in the chat every week. We had a record audience tonight. Woo, lots of people.
A lot of people, I think, are at home with their parents, and they're like,
every-
well, I'm going to
Everybody's at home and they're like, I really want to tune into some engineering.
I'm really tired of fixing everybody's web
This is
servers.
our 4th year of doing the show. We have lots of cool things ahead and even more shows ahead. Thank you, everyone out there who supports us. Don't forget the code is 13. It's going to be active for another 58 minutes. I'm going to turn it off as soon as I get home. So,
Hopefully less than 50.
yeah, so please use the code. It's 13% off. I don't think we'll be able to do something like that again.
At least not for another year.
For quite some time. So if you want to get any last minute things before the end of the year, go for it. Thank you, George. Thank you, Paint Your Dragon. Thank you, everyone in the chat. Thank you, everyone.
What a great year.
Yeah, it was a great year.
This was the biggest year ever for Adafruit. This time last year, we were just moving in, basically.
Yeah.
Now we're moved in. You can see our factory.
Yeah.
We have even more factory space.
Yeah.
We have the stenciler.
Yeah, we're getting great equipment. Adafruit is now up to 63 people altogether. We're
62 plus 1 dragon.
yeah, yeah. And Mosfet is not an employee, but he is
62 plus 1 dragon plus 1
yeah,
cat.
he's on the board of directors.
He's on the board of Meow Directors.
Meow Directors.
Meow Directors.
And we'll be here next week. We'll see all of you next year.
He's on the scratching post.
And before we go, I have to hook up this synth again.
Really? Uh-oh.
Yeah.
This synth really came apart.
Yeah, what I did was, let's see here.
Well, you could always, it's this thing. And then,
This.
I don't even know.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
What parts go where?
Well, this came in first.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the first part.
Okay.
Because that's the sequencer. Right, the other way. Yeah.
Okay.
And then
I'm gonna try to play this live music
this
thing again.
thing is split. So
Yeah.
then this goes like this. And then this, I think, just goes like...
All right.
Yeah, this has to go like this. Okay.
Okay.
5 engineers can get this
No,
working.
you can do it.
And then this
I just need one Lady Ada. That's all I need.
Okay. All right. Okay. And
Okay.
then speaker.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is this is what it is. And then what I'll do is I'll bring it over here, and I'm gonna plug it into the board. And then we'll see everybody next week. Happy New Year. Here's a picture of a cat.
Now is the time on Ask an Engineer where we dance.
Here's your moment of Zener. And then I'm gonna try to get this onto the board here. Let's see. Okay, this should work.